bars or power bars or whatever. We need a coat in case we get stuck in our car and it's cold out. People just don't think about things like that. A lot of it is just pure common sense.
But we might miss a episode of something, or
Yeah.
we've got to get the priorities are skewed. Surviving is imperative. You can't do any of the other things if you don't do that.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting is now you can go online and buy ready-made, put together disaster like kits that have food. I
Yes.
have a bunch of them, and for whatever price. If you, because some people really like to go put them together themselves, or maybe take the kids and making an event out of it where you can talk to your kids about it and come up with a plan. But for people that can't do that, you just go online and Google disaster kits. They come in every size, every shape, every price. They're delivered to your door. You just have to worry about changing out the water every few years or whatever the recommendation is. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have some that I'm constantly adding to. And then I am a member of what's called CERT, Community Emergency Response Teams, and we're trained through our fire department. We're all over the country, and we're trained with through FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security. And basically, what that means is that they make sure that our training is the same as FEMA, that we're not doing things wrong, because basically what we do is we back up first responders.
Mm-hmm.
So we get these huge supply kits, and I have a huge one in my closet that is filled with everything from a bullhorn to rope and a tarp and all this stuff. But I also have a bunch of smaller bug out bags, for when you need to grab and run. When somebody
Yes.
comes to your neighborhood and says, the fire is coming, get out. You grab that bag and you run, and it's got everything that you need. You obviously want to put your own medications or little personal items and things in it, but it's common sense. It's not super expensive. One day and you could get everything you need done. Read up a little bit so you're kind of prepared. And
Well,
that's really it.
it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Kind of like weapons.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And again, even for things like, deep cuts, does this need stitches? What do I do? There's glass stuck in my son's arm. Do I pull it out? Is it going to make the bleeding worse? All of that stuff. A lot of us are just, we don't even know how to, properly treat certain types of cuts. And that's how I had to learn, was through the training and then even writing the book for kind of a refresher course.
Right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. But, it just further ingrained that into you.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
if if there's I tend to be one of those people that if something really big happens, I go into a really calm, I kind of take over leadership kind of thing. I don't know where the heck that comes from. I don't panic. Even, I might panic for a second, but then I sort of kind of kick into this weird calm. It's very eerie. And that's good though, because then I can kind of detach a little and say, okay, Max, get away from the window, get the dogs over here, blah, blah, blah. And everybody around me is still in a panic. And I think that might come from having all the training. I
I
think
think
it
so.
sort of empowers you. Yeah.
Because it kind of gets, you know, you've got this. There's a
Yeah.
difference between being confident and, just stepping up for with no background to help you with that.
Yeah.
you
And,
know,
you kind of look around and feel like, yikes, I better do something because
because it's
these
going to be
people
real
are
bad
putting
here in
in
a
all
minute. Yes.
precautions. And yeah, after one earthquake, we had people lighting candles, which is like a big no-no because of the gas
Gas
leaks
leaks.
everywhere, fires everywhere. And it was like, they need to talk about this on the news.
Well, they do because after that big tornado I told you about, the one that hit Tuscaloosa, and we had like 26 that day.
Oh
We had
yeah,
we
wow,
had entire towns disappear,
yeah.
and 120 something people died that day. But it was I was cleaning up because I go after the news crews leave, because that's usually when the volunteers leave too.
Right.
And so I was helping pull, because you have to pull them down before Habitat will come in and build. So I was trying to pull houses down and get stuff, personal belongings to the side of the road so that the
Right.
dozers could come through and knock the other stuff down. But I had stopped. The Red Cross, brings lunch through, and you just lay on a porch somewhere and look at the sky because all you can see is destruction if you're looking around you.
Uh,
And I was
yeah.
walking back from that, and a limousine came through, and it was somebody from the governor's office. And we were stopped to talk, and all of a sudden my hair started blowing. Well, somebody had turned on the gas. There was a
Oh
gas line
no.
behind me. And
Oh.
if I'd have been a smoker, I'd have been dead.
Oh.
I mean, it was just that bad. People don't realize that things like that are there.
Yeah.
And it was just it had been where a house was. It was like a kitchen gas line.
Oh, all those erupted. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
so,
whatever disrupted gas lines. Just.
yeah, because the appliances were gone. There was nothing left in these houses. Except the house I was cleaning out right then had a jar of canned, they had a mason jar of put up peaches that
Wow.
survived it. And there was a picture of Jesus on their hallway wall.
Oh my gosh.
And that was all. The appliances were completely gone.
Yeah. And all the things that were plugged in, and
Yeah, everything just went push
Yeah.
out the window or the wall. It was wild. So you
Yeah, and
have to
it's
be
funny because
attentive.
yeah, and you'll ask people, and one of the first things that they'll say is, "Oh, I need to stock up on candles." It's like, oh, well,
No.
maybe if the power goes out, but not in this situation.
Well,
So
that,
yeah, a little bit of common sense goes a long way.
yeah, that was, and, those people in the limousine were looking at me like, why is her hair doing that?
Yeah, they're safe in their limousine, sort of.
And, they were gone. They left. And I was
Yeah,
like, well, I was the one standing here. Why did you run away?
yeah,
So it was actually funny in retrospect. It was kind of freaky at the time, but it's all good. I didn't die.
yeah.
So
Scary. It's
that's
like,
how I judge a day.
you could also know all of this stuff, and we're not saying that just because you know all of this, you're going to survive everything. I think it increases
Got a
your
better
odds
chance.
tremendously, but it's still, you just never know what's going to happen.
It's like those people that, and I'm sorry, those people that stayed in Panama City. Anybody who stayed in the way of that storm, that was reckless. And
Yeah,
you don't just jeopardize your life or your children. You're
right.
jeopardizing the people that have to come and find you
The
in the
first
storm.
responders, yeah, they don't want to, they don't want to go in there and risk their lives. And that always makes me so angry. It's
Me
like, do you
too.
realize, the firefighters and the law enforcement people and the EMS and nurses and Red Cross and blah, 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 they're all at risk now because you didn't want to leave.
Yeah, and now they fuss because there's no services. There's no anything there, and they have these tent cities and parking lots, and people are saying you have to go, and it's just like they're offended because they're being told they can't stay in their hovel tent anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
It's just,
you should have left. You would have gotten help from FEMA.
yeah,
And
makes me crazy. It's like, if
yeah,
you're told to go, go, you just, yeah.
we had Ivan hit in my little beach town, and from that point on, the rule in Alabama is the first 72 is on you. We hope you have food.
Yeah.
Don't stay if there's a reason it's a mandatory evacuation.
Yeah, don't wait.
Yes.
And another thing too is, people just they don't stock up on extra food and water until the last minute, then wonder why the store shelves are empty. And it's just so bizarre. It's like the second you hear on your weather report for your area that something might be coming, that's when you need to go stock up.
Well, it's not a
Not
bad
an
idea to have
hour.
something sitting in your cupboard to start with.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like, you can always use it if nothing happens. You can cycle it out with
Sure.
new food, but waiting till the last minute and then complaining because there's nothing on the shelves, it's just crazy.
Do you remember when you were asking about preppers?
Yeah, yeah,
And, I have those friends that do that.
yeah,
And, it was just so bizarre because their home has an orchard, they have a vineyard, they have a monster farm, garden, they have chickens and ducks, and they put stuff up.
yeah. I would love
So
that.
it's beautiful. But
Yeah.
we are not far away from our final break. So that's pretty amazing too. These breaks just come way too
I
fast.
know.
But I found it so interesting because I knew that you had to be working on something like this when you were asking these questions. And I love
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
ask.
I'm
Does anybody know
fascinated. I think
this?
preppers are wonderful, and I wish I had that opportunity. I think it's great to be self-sufficient, but we can all, at least be a little bit more sufficient than we
Sure.
are. Be a little bit more ready. We can learn a lot from preppers on, all kinds of little hacks and tips on how to do that.
Well, I've learned from them because, you know, I was, I just told her, I said, well, I can. I used to live on a farm.
Yeah,
So I can do all kinds of things that people are shocked by. And she was like, well, if hits the fan, then here's our coordinates.
yeah,
And I was like,
exactly.
well, yay. Thank you.
Yeah. And I mean, not all of us, like, I live in a suburban area. If you live in an urban area or you can't afford to buy land, but there's still a lot of things that you can
Sure,
do
there
with what
are.
you have and where you are.
Yep. And that's beautiful. And I love this book for that reason. And that's why, yeah, I got my hard copy, but my kids are getting one too. And we're
Oh,
going
thank
to
you.
be taking a 2-minute break now. So, just kind of hang with us and we'll be this right after back.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.